I'm here again to build on the foundation that we already laid for Kalam radio class. For our listeners who were with us on Monday, you recall that we said in this slot we'll be looking at issues that relate to learning, to teaching, to research, to classroom dynamics, to education. And we tried to start a discussion on the status of school against the backdrop of a catchy phrase that our young population now uses, that school is scam. If you were with us on Monday, you will recall that the question was, is school scam? We tried to examine a number of reasons, factors why some people think that schooling, and by extension education, is scam. Primarily because of the poor employment opportunities that we have now. The conclusion that many people draw is that if people spend so much to go to school, and at the end of school year there are no jobs, do we not conclude that the entire process of going to school is a trick? It's a fast one that systems play on beneficiaries, that those who go to school now become victims? We'll be looking at some arguments for and some of the realities that describe and define schooling and education. Let me begin this discussion today by looking at what the school is. What is school? If we mention school, what exactly do we mean? It suffices to establish that school, we are using it generically now, whether it is pre-primary or post-doctoral, school is an educational institution which provides an environment for structured teaching and learning to happen. It's an environment. No wonder if you go to one of the requirements for government approval of private provision of educational services is possession of a serene environment where, well, no environment is completely serene or ideal, where much of external noise interference can be managed. That's why you find in those days schools were put at the outskirts of communities, but eventually communities have grown and swallowed school structures, so a lot of noise now impinges on the serenity of a school environment. So for us, school is an educational institution which provides an environment for participants, for beneficiaries to learn in a to benefit from structured teaching, which is intended to lead to structured learning. Now let's consider some characteristics. When we say structured teaching and learning, what exactly do we mean? We have in mind here a structured curriculum from pre-primary to post degree, post diploma. Learning is structured, and well, we are not going to say that age is a key. It's key, quite all right, but then I'm aware we are following up on the debate on the best age range within which children should begin formal education. I think the new Minister of Education has laid it to rest now by saying that children who possess the wherewithal to gain admission can proceed to school regardless of the 18-year age statutory age limit that was indicated. So we have structured curricula. If you go to Form 1, JS1, you will see that the content is different from what you find in JS2. You know, those days in the university, we used to laugh and tease ourselves that almost every session, some of your courses will be introduction to this, introduction to that, and then at the point of graduation, we now ask, when will these people usher us into the mainstream? Introduction to psychology, introduction to computer packaging, introduction to coding, introduction to financial accounting. When do you enter the mainstream? These are intentionally packaged to allow learners transition from from a given depth of content to a slightly higher one by the time the person passes and goes to the next one. So structured curriculum is one of the characteristics of formal schooling where structured teaching and learning can take place. That's why you find that at the end of every term, 3 terms for primary and secondary, and higher institution you have is semester based. We have first, second. Some run tri-semester programs, but at the end of the day, it's still the same thing. Graduated content, graduated levels of difficulty, of problems. The lower levels start or function as foundation for what will be built on top. So we have structured curriculum as an essential index of formal schooling. Then we have structured timetable. If you look at some of these things that we will list, you'll see the big difference between structured, contextualized teaching and learning and apprenticeship system or mentorship system, whatever. If you go to a fashion design house, you go to a mechanic site, the curriculum exists in the mind of the master, and I bet you it is not as if the master craftsman at any point has an arranged system of topics that will be taught to students. Go to the mechanic site and you'll see. Go to a tailor's shop and you'll see. The apprentice learns how to thread a needle, learns measurements. When they are cutting, he or she stands up to watch. In the mechanic site, when they are loosening and slacking bolts or whatever, is watching. They send him on menial tasks. Go and bring. They just say, "Give me 14." Very soon he has to get used to giving 14. And when they say 14, he may now ask, as time goes on, is it flat or round? Flat spanner or round socket? Different things they'll be asking, but it's not the same. In the formal education system, the curriculum is laid out. So if you are preparing for an exam, for instance, you can get to the examining body and get a copy of the syllabus for your exam. The topics are laid out, and you can see how they are arranged in order of difficulty to enable a learner make the transitions from one topic to the other. So we have structured timetable. I just came from a secondary school to this place now, from 8:15 to 10, where I join other people to mentor our children who are in SS3, preparing them for May-June exam of next year. 35 minutes, 8:15 to 8:50, you are there. No matter how engaging your subject is, at the end of 35 minutes, you learn to leave the class for the next subject to come in. You will see that there is psychological considerations are built into the structuring of a timetable. Go to mechanic side, go to a tailor workshop, there is no such thing. And an apprentice can only learn when work is brought. When they are doing, if not, there's nothing to repair. The guy is lying down on a bench and the apprentices are loafing around. But in the school system, it's not like that. Anyone who's familiar with formal education will understand that some key subjects are taught when children are freshest. That's psychology. So you go to the place, you see English, you see mathematics. You see mathematics, you see English. You see chemistry, you see physics. As the day wears on to closing time, some other subjects are brought in, which will require some not too much theorizing or abstractions. Something that the children can cope with and they can deal with tiredness. This thing stays on you. You find that when children go on break and as soon as they return, if they have eaten anything during break time, the natural process of metabolism sets in, and when our body metabolizes, there's a natural tendency to be weak and drowsy and to sleep. So timetable planners understand all of these things, and so they know how to fix the subjects so that you can get the best from a child from 8 to 2 o'clock. You can have his attention. Now look at it. In primary school, for instance, the lesson, primary 3, primary 4, 5, 6, the lesson probably is no more than 30 minutes. In primary 1, in KG, because of the attention span of children, it's relative to age. It's relative to age. There's just how much of a child's attention you can have. That's why, as a digression, some of us argue that people who teach at the lower levels of education ought to be paid more. If you know what it takes to keep children's attention at peak, a lot of repeat after me, a lot of singing, a lot of role playing to keep these children engaged. Otherwise, you will wear out. So structured timetable. There is structured academic calendar. It's all over. It's a global thing. No one reads or stays in the class continuously, indefinitely. So the program, children resume. In Nigeria, for instance, resumption is generally September, October. It's the time to resume for a new session, and it takes on till June, July, and then long break. But of course, at intervals you have break. First term, second term. At the higher level, first semester break, then end of session break. So you structure the calendar. In apprenticeship scheme, the child comes and signs for three years. The parents come and guarantor, serve as guarantor. 3 years unbroken. Nothing. 3 years. And one day the Oga calls and says, "Oh boy, next month we'll make it 3 years. Tell your parents that you are ready to, what they call it now? To do freedom. So, structured academic calendar is a cardinal characteristic of formal schooling. Surely you require trained teachers, trained facilitators. As experience takes its toll, some of these teachers become administrators. So it's teaching cum administration. Then you have principal grade 1, principal grade 2. You have senior tutor relative to entry, qualification, and experience. So you have trained teachers because there is a how. Teaching and learning have a how to them. There's a how. That's why today in Nigeria you have the Teachers Registration Council, and the intention is that at some point in time nobody enters into teaching without professional certification, because after arguments for and against, it has finally been accepted that teaching is after all a profession, and so you don't stray into it, you don't stumble into it. You go through certification procedures. So there are trained teachers. Then you have graded evaluation or assessment. I'm not aware that to be qualified for freedom that an apprentice mechanic needs to do exam. He doesn't. The master has evaluated him over time. Oh, well, go and check what is wrong with that engine. Then he goes and brings a report. The guy is listening as the test. He says, yes. What do you do now? The guy says, I want to check the fuel supply system. It's okay, because the gas mind has gone there that the problem with that vehicle is the fuel system, and this boy is doing it. The guy dismantles an engine and couples it up to a point and calls on him, come and complete this coupling, and he leaves something which is key to making an engine run, leaves it and waits to see if the boy will discover it. So over time he now knows that this boy is ready to go solo. The same thing in schooling. There is graded examination. In the secondary school system, they prepare you until May, June, and then you're on your own. Everything that has happened from GS1 to SS3 is cumulative. All the introductions plus subsequent constructions put on top. You now know what a quadratic equation is and how to use it, and other things. They prepare you for the final assessment. In the tertiary education system, which we tell our students in Auchi Poly, wherever you are, Edo University, Iyamo, Ambrosali University, any university, polytechnic, college of education, wherever you are, if you are going for a 4-year degree program, when you come in for orientation, they tell you, guy, to get your degree at the end of 4 years, you will be sitting for exams 8 times, 2 per session, first semester, second semester, and they will tell you, you don't fail for fun here. In the secondary school system, you can fail mock WASC and go ahead to WASC and go and make all your papers credit, because it's not cumulative. WASC is an external exam. Every other thing you have done is internal, and they are not correlated. They're not correlated. So there is graded evaluation. If you are going to make a first class, going to make a second class, you're going to be third class, you're going to be upper credit, you're going to be distinction, however the classification is made is through graded evaluation or assessment, as the case may be. To find out, remember I told you, structured curriculum. What do you learn in 100 level? What do you learn in 200 level? Your outcomes, the learning outcomes for each of the sessions will be put aside for you, and they teach you very early in higher institution how to work out your own cumulative point average GPA. Then when you are graduating, you have the GPA that sums up everything for you, and you now know, oh, I am distinction candidate, I am upper credit, I am first class. So it's graded according to the structure. We'll go on a short break and be back shortly. Welcome back to our discussion. Now, in the first part of this program, I have tried to show us some key characteristics of school and schooling. Remember, we said that school is an environment where structured learning takes place, and we've tried to show you the indices of structure. What I mean by structure. Now, what do schools give? What do schools give? Of course, you must know by now that our position at Kalam Radio is that school is not a scam. It is substantial investment in the life and destiny of a child. Somebody posted a picture he went to take of dead vehicles at a mechanic site, and he put something there. He asked people to pay close attention to the different classes of vehicles in the picture. V-Boot, Mercedes-Benz, Beast. There's one they used to call it Beast. There's the one they used to call Opolo Eyes. Volkswagen was there, our glorious Volkswagen Beetle. 504 and other types. And he was now asking, if all that a parent labors in life is to acquire a vehicle which he hopes to bequeath to children, what value will this junk attract? And it struck a very fine lesson for anyone who has discernment, who can look and understand. Houses, drive through the streets of Auchi and tell me what you see. Those days in secondary school, we had a poem by John Pepe Clark titled Ibadan. Very short poem. And in the poem, J.P. Clark, obviously airborne over Ibadan, sitting at having a window seat in the aeroplane, could look from his window down. It's a running splash with rust and gold, scattered among 7 hills like broken china in the sun. That's the poem, Ibadan. Running splash with rust and gold, scattered among 7 hills like broken china in the sun. Of course, those poems gave us some hard times those days to interpret. And eventually we got to understand that if you look at Ibadan, it's a very old city. You look at the roofs, brown roof. Those days there were no color roofs. Brown zinc, brown from age and exposure to the elements. Drive through Auchi and you will tell me what you see. It's ancient and modern. That's what you will see in Auchi. Just like any other fast developing location. It's becoming cosmopolitan. You will see. Rickety buildings. The people are no longer living in them. Some of them story buildings. Mud. You see huge cracks. And you see evidence of attempt by the owners to keep the buildings in use. And then, of course, you reconcile with reality that, well, how far I can go with this building. So if the struggle is to build a house that my children will be proud of and inherit, then after a few years, my house is now a source of embarrassment to my children. They don't bring their friends home. They can't tell their friends that, look at our house. They will go to town and see. Go to town and see amazing artistic fences. Go and see artistic gates. Sliding gate. The one that we opened. I went to see a friend. Well, he was my student those days. Now a big boy. Big man. It's not Yahoo Plus. It's not Yahoo. It's just well invested. I called him at the gate. He said, yes, I'm inside. I said, okay, sir, I'm at the gate. He said, okay. After a while, the gate opened by itself. Nobody. And it's quite a walk from the gate to the main house. He was sitting at his veranda. And he had a remote control in his hand. He said, yes, I saw you. So I just opened. It opened by itself. That's where we are now, ladies and gentlemen. So, but I can bet you, engineering is dynamic. Construction is dynamic. Architecture is dynamic. Go and see what technology is doing. Even that, this scenario I just told you about of a gate that you can open with remote from far away, I can assure you that what comes after, we don't know, but it will surpass what we know now. So if the struggle is to build a house and our children will inherit, they will sell. A family sold the land the father acquired and kept for them. They sold their grave along. You know what they did? I said, that's abomination now. They say, well, they just bought a goat and to tell their father not to be angry, they now relocated the bones and sold the property. I'm sure the man, wherever he is, will mourn. So what are we saying? Schooling is investment for now and for posterity. Go and see our fathers that went to school those days. Some of them didn't go beyond standard school, more than 3. Do you listen to their use of language? Do you listen to do you see the polish that they carry along? They understand social graces, etiquette. They understand it. That's what education does. Education never goes out of fashion. It doesn't. So what do schools offer? One, not in any particular order, school provides platform for socialization. Socialization is the process of getting people initiated, inducted into the values and practices and behaviors and beliefs of a people. And it begins right at the home level. With the parents, with siblings, people in the nuclear or extended family. Socialization takes place on the street, takes place in the church, in the mosque, in the market. But a substantial part of a child's life is spent at school, 8 to 2 o'clock. And very soon you will hear the schools tell you that they are not doing lectures. So 84. Substantial part of a child's life is spent in the school. Socialization. He learns how to be a team player, how to function in a group, how to look out for other people, how to grow in leadership. Some of them become prefects and other things. So socialization. Go to schools in the morning, they have morning assembly. That's a platform to help students to see themselves as belonging to an organic group, an organic whole. We may be in classes, but we are together. They sing together to drumming by some of them, school drum, and they march to their classes. Announcements are made where people have broken school regulations. Appropriate sanctions are meted out at the assembly to serve as deterrent to others. So socialization is what school offers. School helps to preserve knowledge across generations. Across generations. That's what school does. To preserve. You go to the library, you see books, very old books. New versions come out. Teachers who mentor these children are products of those old books that you see in the library. And as they teach and retire, the books don't retire. Books don't retire. You can find out. The people, what's his name now, and his theory of gravity. You see the story. Was it yesterday? No. Long ago. It's preserved in the books, preserved in the teachers, preserved in the libraries. So, schools help to preserve knowledge across generations. When this guy, what I've forgotten his name now, shouted Eureka in ancient Athens those days, when he discovered that it was the issue of mass. When a body is wholly or partially immersed in water, some displacements will happen. And he jumped out and said, Eureka, Eureka. It's long ago that this thing happened. Ancient times was preserved in the books. And as long as children study chemistry and all of those things, they will discuss mass and weight and all of those things. Preserved. That's what schools do. Knowledge across generations. Schools create employment opportunities. I always tell people that yes, there may be no jobs now. We're only going through some hard stretches in our nationhood journey. And the comforting part of the hardship we are passing through is that it's not peculiar to Nigeria. It's a global thing. There is serious economic challenge across the globes. The naira has its challenges. The euro has its challenges. All the Russian, the Indian rupees, all of them have their. Only that our naira is hardest hit, but we will recover. We have hope in Nigeria. We have hope in our education system. So, schools create employment opportunities. But let me chip in this. Schools do not, let me not be absolute. Schools may not prepare you for specific jobs. Schools hardly do that. You read accountancy, yes. That's all that it has given you. If I employ you as an accountant, I am going to show you the areas that you'll be covering. You may not fully have room to apply all the principles that you learned in accountancy in the class, because theory and practice intersect at some point. Do you not find that banking and finance graduates may end up doing other things other than banking and finance? Some employers will recruit you and train you to do your job the way they want it, not the way the schools train you. So the point I'm making is this: schools may not always train us for specific job fittings. Schools may not usually may not generally train us for specific job feelings. What schools do is to prepare you, make you adaptable to labor demands. Make you adaptable to labor demands. If you read economics, for instance, you could end up in a company and they tell you that part of your job schedule is to keep the books, accounting books for them. And anyone who reads economics knows that you ought to be able to do that. That's how it goes. So schools train and create employment opportunities. Go to all the schools in town now and see. Teachers recruiting, they recruit teachers. Go to the Polytechnic and see. Go to Ambrose Ali, go to Edo University, recruit. And when the adverts come out, they will tell you assistant lecturer, lecturer 3, lecturer 2, lecturer 1, senior lecturer, this lecturer, associate professor. And for each grade level, for each lectureship cadre, they say this is the qualification. You need 5 years post graduation qualification plus this number of publications. If you are going to fit in, that's what you get. So schools prepare, create employment opportunities. Let me also quickly add that schooling increases your chances for better career advancement and opportunities. That's what school does for you. It gives you a foundation. Yes, you go to, for your first degree, you go to this school. Thereafter, many JAMB candidates, at the point they fill their JAMB forms, have very sketchy ideas about the employment prospects of the courses they intend to pursue. I am sure when it's time to begin to buy JAMB forms, we will organize and bring people to talk to our prospective JAMB candidates on career choice, on JAMB course subject combination, and all of those things that will help you. So by the time you now get your first degree, you now discover that I was discussing with the general manager of Kalam Radio that his first qualification is in building. It's in building. So he has good exposure in building, in architecture and all that. But after that, opportunities came and he veered off to IT. That's what we are talking about. Schooling increases your chances for better career opportunities. And of course, this opens doors for improved upward mobility. Then you can climb. Go and check people out. He has one first degree in this area. Eventually, he moves to this area and he builds on the first degree. So that's what schooling does. Increases your chances for better career opportunities. You can't fault the argument. Is it an argument? The fact that schooling exposes you to development of critical problem solving skills. Critical problem solving skills, logical reasoning, analytical skills, quality decision making. This is what schooling prepares you for. This is inculcated in you as you go through the levels, especially when you get to higher institution. Now, if you see job adverts, part of the requirement today is prospective candidates should be good at, should have analytical ability, critical thinking. That's what they talk about. That's what schooling imbues in you, inculcates in you. Do I need to say that schooling prepares you for higher incomes? I need not, because it's a given. It's a given point. Higher qualification, higher income. Higher qualification, you have opportunity to negotiate. You leverage your higher qualifications for higher entitlements in your place of work. You have BSc accounting, and that's you are doing your job. Then you now become chartered, either by ICANN or by ANAN. By the time you are writing to your employers that this is to notify you of my acquisition of extra qualification, they understand that this extra qualification means that extra entitlements. So those things come in. That's what schooling does for you. Schooling prepares you for highly specialized professional practice in medicine, in architecture, in agric, in engineering, in law. That's what schooling does. Highly specialized professions require schooling to prepare candidates to do well in the world of work. Let me begin to sum up that broadly, schooling stimulates, or if you like, facilitates academic development of the individual. It facilitates personal development. It stimulates social development, because by the time you know, they will tell you those days when we went to school, first degree, 100 level, orientation, they say, hey, Jambites, you'll be here for the next 4 years at least. They say, as you go through the university, let the university go through you. We didn't understand, but by the time we were leaving, we understood. You learn to socialize. They put 2 or 3 of you, 4 of you in a room. This one is from Abeokuta, the other one is from Anambra State, this one is from Kogi, this one from is this. Your roommate, your bedmate, if it's a double bunk, your bedmate upstairs is a Muslim. The other one has no religion and he criticizes all religions in the place. But you people will stay together for the next 4 years. I mean, well, 1 year accommodation. And you learn to live with people. You learn to respect and accommodate people, individual differences. You will learn it. You may not subscribe to my religion, but respect me and my religion and leave us alone. You build friendship across barriers that are created by society. And if you build well, this friendship can last for life. Schooling stimulates intellectual development. So, ladies and gentlemen, my dear listeners out there, I want to let you know that we really appreciate you. If you have issues with our broadcast, I'm sure you will have. If you go to Kalam Radio app, there is provision for you to send in your comments and we will attend to them. So I want to appreciate you for listening to me out there. I must not fail to appreciate my producer this morning. She has been Mariam Ikaro. My appreciation. Thank you very much. See you next time.